Importing contacts. So you may have an existing database that you want to get into Horizon. The quickest and easiest way to do that would be to import it from either an Excel spreadsheet or a comma-separated CSV file. So let's take a look at how we can do that. So I'm logged in, so I'll click on Contacts and then I'll click on Import Contacts. So the first thing I need to do in Horizon is to decide which directory I want to import my new contacts into. So I have 3 directories set up in my Horizon division. I'm going to select Marketing Database. Underneath that is a button labeled Generate Import Template. This isn't something you need to do, but if you click that, then Horizon will generate for you a spreadsheet or a CSV file that contains all the right column headings to make it very easy to get the data into Horizon. So if I expand some of those out just so we can see what they're called, we've got everything here we'd need. So some name fields, we've got the address fields, we've got all the different communication types that contact may have, so you can run cross-channel campaigns. Here's a good field. So this is Optin Categories. So this is where you load in the categories that each of your contacts has opted into, potentially from the system you were using previously, to make sure that you run permission-based marketing. So Horizon will only send messages out to contacts who have opted into the same category or categories that you've tagged for your message. Also in the spreadsheet we have the custom field columns for any custom fields that are in profiles that you've added to that directory. So we have a separate set of videos around custom fields, profiles, directories. Watch those when you get a moment so you can find out how to set up these custom fields. So all of that looks good. What I'm going to do now is just to add a couple of contacts so we can see how the import process works. So let's add James Smith, and James will add an email address. And we'll add a mobile number for receiving SMS text messages. So you'll know in Excel you just need to add a single quote character at the start of that number just to stop the leading 0 from being stripped off. Or alternatively you could just add a white space, does the same thing. So for James we're going to also fill out this profile field. Existing customer is yes, and I'm going to add my Optin categories. Now if you forget what your Optin categories are, no problem. Go back to Horizon, click on Admin. Click on Optin Categories, and there we go. So I've got 2 set up for this Horizon division, news and special offers. You can add whichever Optin categories you want. We have a separate video on that, so watch it when you get a moment. So what I'm going to do now is go back to spreadsheet, and I'm going to opt James in for news. Put in a double quote. It's a good practice, particularly if your Optin category has a white space in the middle of it, so it's 2 or more words. Always good just to include double quotes around it. So let's now add a second contact, Jenny Saunders. And again for Jenny we'll add an email address. And for Jenny we'll add both those Optin categories. Okay, that looks good. So I'll save that spreadsheet in just to my desktop. Cool, so if I go back to the import contacts screen now, so we've selected the directory. We'll say these guys are individuals rather than businesses. We'll select the file to be imported. There we go. So Horizon now is telling me my primary delimiter. The way I'm separating out these different sets of information is through the spreadsheet columns. If it was a CSV file, you'd need to select there either say a comma or a semicolon. And again, my secondary delimiter, the way I'm separating out different pieces of data within a single column, is with a comma. So for example, that's my Optin category, so I'm using a comma there to separate each of those. The next setting here is important, dedupe. So you can dedupe on pretty much anything within Horizon. Typically you'd use email address. So what this is doing is, let's say you've got lots of rows of data in your spreadsheet and you accidentally added the same person twice in 2 different rows. What Horizon does is for each row you're importing, it will take a look at the email address in that row for that contact, and it will compare that to existing contacts in the Horizon database, and it will compare it to other rows in the file you're importing. If it sees that that email address already exists, it will update that contact's existing record rather than adding them for a second time. So this is a really useful way to make sure your database stays nice and clean. If you are importing data you know it's for the first time, or let's say you want to be very, very precise around which contact is going to be updated. Again, you could dedupe on contact ID. So let's say you've exported your Horizon database already. You're then maybe adding a few additional columns to that, maybe to populate some new profile data, and then you're re-importing it. On the export, you might include the contact ID field, and then when you re-import, you again could dedupe on that contact ID, and that's a very clear way of making sure that your existing contacts are going to be updated rather than added a second time. So other things you can do on the import contact screen, I can, if I want to, add those contacts to an existing list group, so I can very easily include them in a campaign straight away. So that I'll select one of those, import data, and if I want to, I can clear that group first just to make sure it wipes any data that was already in that group. And the last thing I can do is to select a location for a report file, which is going to tell me of my successful and unsuccessful contacts, just so I can see why any errors occurred. So I've done that. That looks good. I'm going to click on preview. And the first thing I'll be asked to do here is to do an import mapping. So this is to just map the columns on my spreadsheet to the data fields within Horizon. Now, because I've used the import template, all this is set up for me. If you'd use your own spreadsheet with maybe some different column headings, you just need, for each column you want to import, just select the field in Horizon that data is going to go into, or click on skip if you don't want to import that column. That looks good. I'll click on OK. And at this point, Horizon's told me I've got 2 contacts to import, no errors, no warnings. And if I scroll down the page, I can see a preview. So data hasn't come into Horizon yet, but it's showing me what it's seen, which is going to create a guy called James Smith, opted into news. It's going to create someone called Jenny Saunders, opted into news and special offers. If I wanted to look in any more detail to make sure my profile custom fields are there, then again I could do that here. And then when I'm done and that looks good, I'll click on import. So at this point, Horizon's told me it's processing, and you go back to contacts and I can see there's my new data. So importing contacts done.